What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Bears Focus podcast. It's your host, Colin. And today, we got a guest with us, my boy, Sterling, in the building. And, we're going to be talking about some Bears news from the week. It's been a pretty big week. They made some moves. It's been a big week just in the league in general. So we're going to talk about all that, man. So getting right into it, man, let's start with those Bears trades, man. Let's start right with the first one, Tuesday. Traded for Jonah Jackson, 2025 6th-round pick to the Rams. What's your thoughts on that, dog?
First off, we got to think this is maybe another masterclass being put on by Ryan Poles. This may be another masterclass right before the draft, too. If you notice, the past couple of years, he's willing and dealing right before the draft, and he goes into that draft, and I think it's going to allow him to get the best player or fill the best position need on the team. Right, so getting a Jonah Jackson, you get instant culture changer. You get somebody that's coming in, that's fiery, that's worked under Ben Johnson before, that's ready to lead and instruct that O-line on what needs to be done so Caleb can be protected. I think it was a under the radar move. I think the Bears O-line got better, more physical, and then I think. On top of that physicality, that's going to lead to a culture change, and it's kind of setting the tone for how the Bears plan to win in the 2026 season.
I like that, dog, and I agree with you. It is a move that brought some toughness, but he only played 4 games last season. Shoulder injury kept him out, and we just let go of, well, not let go, his contract ended. Tevin Jenkins, same position, who missed a lot of games. So we're replacing an injury-prone player with a player just coming off a full season, basically, of injury.
Wait a minute. Now here's something to consider. He was injured last season, right? But prior to that, Jonah Jackson had no injuries on this record. So injury-prone season, we can't label somebody as injured.
That's why I say injury-prone. I just say injured season.
Well, and then even with him having those injuries, he still acted like a professional, right? He lost his job. He was still on the team. He still gave the Rams what they needed and was there to show up. That's the same type of attitude we want to bring to this new culture that the Bears are building.
That's facts.
We're not messing around this year. I know everybody thought last year was the golden year. The time is now for the Chicago Bears. All right. If you're not on the bandwagon with the team this year, don't ever join us. Don't ever join us.
It's like, we don't want you. We don't want you. Now, I do think the move is really good, right? Now, he led the league in his 4 games, right? Small sample size. He did lead the league in pass block win rate at 98.5%. All right, first among guards. Now, he did only play 2 games at guard. 1 game at left guard, 1 game at right guard, and he played 2 games at center. So that even gives us some mobility now to let us go ahead, get somebody in that's really good, that we can move around, right? He can be a piece that we put in different places, we put in different positions, and we put him in there to win. All right. So I think it's a really good move. And I think that hopefully he has a bounce back season. No injuries. He can give us about 15 games, even if you sit 1 or 2 for rest or something like that.
100%.
I fully expect this to work out for the Bears.
100%. And just like you said, he's a versatile O-line. Right, he can fill a number of different positions on that O-line. Well, excuse my language for my Chicago people. You know what time it is, but just sucking ass on the O-line. We are looking to eliminate those problems and move forward into this new era of football. I know we've been stuck on the 95 Bears for a long time. Shout out to the 85 Bears team. And I know even more so that's worse than that. I hate to say it, but we kind of been on a Super Bowl high from when We had Devin Hester. He ran it back in the Super Bowl, and we had Rex Grossman. Lead us to the Super Bowl.
We can't talk about losing season. This wasn't a losing season,
Hey, hey,
but we
hey,
can't talk
hey,
about when they
hey.
lose. All right, that's like talking about, oh, LeBron's been to 10 finals. Well, he's lost 6 of them. All right, we don't care
The,
about the ones you lose. What are you winning?
the time is now for the Bears. So we are have a winning record so far this year, and we look to continue that. We just really look to continue that with what a masterclass of moves that we're going to make.
Hey, Bears fans love to say that we've won more in 2025 than the Packers have.
Hey,
FGB.
hey.
So,
Let's,
following that, Wednesday, they swung
what
another big trade, dog.
what happened? What
Joe
happened?
Thuney for a 2026 fourth round pick. Now this one, man, this one was the one that took the cake. This one got the fans all excited. They said, we going all in for real. All right. We seeing the moves that the Commanders making and how they trying to build off of their NFC championship season. We trying to get to that spot too. So now we got Joe Thuney who came in, and last season, he was the third ranked guard in pressure rate allowed at
Mm,
4.4%.
mm,
Not only that, he played over 200 snaps at left tackle when the Chiefs were
uh-huh.
getting destroyed at left tackle. So now we have another versatile piece to come in, play a guard spot. He can play a tackle spot too. And no offense to Braxton Jones, but we can use an
Oh my
improvement
gosh.
there. We can use
Oh
an
my gosh.
improvement at that left tackle spot. So
First off,
this is a big move for us.
first off, we got to shout out Braxton Jones. Shout out to Braxton Jones, man.
Shout out to him. He did
You
play decent last season. Got to
he
give it
he's
to him.
been
He
with
did play
he's
decent.
been with us, all these years. He's been holding it down. He wants to do great things out there at left guard, whether it has worked out or not has worked out. I could visually see and say that, hey, I've seen him on the field. I've seen him show up, and I've seen him make some progressions in big time games and just game to game, just improving his technique and his skill. So shout out Braxton Jones, but again, the time is now for the Chicago Bears. And you said some interesting stats. Here go 2 more stats that are really interesting for Joe Thuney
Lay it
over
on
the
me.
last couple of years. All right, now. The first one is he didn't allow a sack last season from his
Mm,
position.
mm,
You're not winning, no matter
no sack.
superstar player, defense doesn't matter. If you came through and you were his responsibility, you came through his gap, you were not getting through to the
You're not
quarterback.
getting that.
That was a
And we
superlative
need
stat.
that.
Are you kidding?
Caleb Williams got sacked 68 times last season.
Ugh.
He almost got close to Derek Carr's record.
What's the
I think
record?
he was 4 sacks off. I think he's 72. It's
Oh
like
my
4 sacks off,
god.
bro, which is insane. Now I get it. We saw the game. Some of them were on him with holding the ball too long and just not making decisions. We get that.
Okay.
68 is still a crazy number for an offensive line to allow. We can't have that happen. So bringing in a guy like Thuney that didn't allow a sack, come on now.
100%. He's going to bring stability and leadership to that offensive line room right away. But also, what he's going to bring is only missed 2 games in his whole career.
Now that we need.
That's
Now that
that
we need.
is ridiculous. With the Bears' problems with how many makeshift O lines we had last season,
No
we can
stability.
have one person fill a role and constantly show up. And we know that the left side of the quarterback is the most important side in football because it's that quarterback blind side. Now you're talking about getting instant leadership, Super Bowl champion.
Four time.
Okay now.
4 time.
All right, soon to be 5-time Super Bowl champion
Hey.
on our team that can give out directions, call out, and work with the rest of the O-line. I mean, you talk about stability and, again, changing the culture of that O-line. The time is now for the Chicago Bears. The culture has changed. We are looking to be a interesting O-line going forward. I think something we haven't seen in a very long time with the Bears. So it's going to be interesting to see.
I don't think I've ever, and I know I'm about to say something crazy, and man, knock on wood, because we still got moves to make. We don't know what's going to happen, but it's shaping up to be one of the best Bears lines ever. All right.
Mm.
Now, obviously, it's
Mm.
still moves to make, and we're going to talk about that. But let's touch on a couple signings that they also made. They just brought in a couple guys back. Josh Blackwell got re-signed, 2 years, $6 million.
Shout out Josh Blackwell. That is the same individual. If for the listeners who are listening in, that's the same individual that ran
Talk on it.
the kick return back versus the Packers in the
Yes,
last game of the season.
sir.
So
Got that punt return
um,
touchdown, baby.
he is going to be great on special teams. Everybody likes him on the
Mm-hmm.
Chicago Bears. He's going to play a special team role well, and we know that he can come in a big time moment and
Mm-hmm.
still produce on the other side of the football, which is what we need.
Yep. Adds more depth, keeping a good player on the special teams. We need that good move right there. And then they also brought back linebacker Amen Obangbamiga. I probably messed that up. My bad. 2 years, $5 million. Another special teams guy that they needed to keep. He got an interception last season, one sack. Got some stats
That
up in spot play, but we needed that back on special teams too. They wanted him back.
100% we need him back on special teams. Not only was he one of our best special teams play, I think he led the team, like you said. I don't know if you said this, in tackles
And
on the
tackles on
special
special
teams.
teams.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that hit principle that was getting ran on the team last season, it looked like he took note of it. Okay, he
took
followed.
note.
He did his job, but yeah, we needed him, and he's gonna bring stability to Hightower and that specials team
Yep.
going into next season. So
And then another signing. This one, it's a fit for Ben Johnson and what it looks like his philosophy, what he's bringing in, and we need that. He brought in tight end Durham Smythe, 1 year deal.
oh,
You know this.
I know Bears fans are a little upset and a little deterred by this. They may not
Why?
fully understand it
Why would that
because
be?
they have no idea who this guy is.
That's
They
facts.
don't, they may not understand the relationship here, right? We know the relationship with Ben Johnson, but there's another relationship
What's that? Talk on it.
here. That relationship is with Cole Kmet, right? You're talking about
Hey.
reuniting teammates from the Irish, right? Going back to
Mm-hmm.
2017, 2018. Actually, Cole Kmet took that man's position on the team, and he gave him the leadership to go on and be who Cole Kmet is. So
Mm.
I like the fusing of those two pieces back together. You talk about 12, you talk about 13 personnel, you talk about physicality, right? Now you don't know what to expect. He's a safety valve for Caleb, right? When we're in 12 personnel, he checks out of it. All right, we know we got somebody he can count on to catch the ball if Cole Kmet is blocking, and vice versa. So we have that safety valve for Caleb. We instantly improve our 12, 13 personnel because we know the way Ben Johnson likes to run offense. You're going to need some bodies, right?
Need a blocking tight end.
You think about people like Dan Skipper. You think about the tight ends that he had on the Lions. You think about even going back to his previous days. He's always had at least two efficient tight ends on the team that could produce and also keep the quarterback out of trouble. Same thing he's doing here now in Chicago. Underrated signing. And this is another special team contributor that will prove dividends for the Bears. The Bears are improving not only on defense, offense, it's all three phases of the football, and Ben Johnson is collecting infinity stones now. I said it.
I'm gonna be honest, dog. I think you put a little too much on him.
Oh,
Safety valve.
oof.
A guy that only had 9 catches last season. I don't know about that.
He's a run
I don't
blocking
know about
tight
that.
end. He's a run blocking tight end, but when
Yeah.
asked to catch, no problem. 6'6", 220, 230. Okay, he's going to be that safety valve. He's going to slip out, and he's going to get some of those routes that just go into the backfield because you have no thought. Like, right now, you're not paying attention to him. If we're not paying attention to him, imagine what the NFL teams are thinking.
I mean,
oh,
the
he's
stats
being
say
there.
it ain't nothing to pay attention to.
That's because the stats haven't had Ben Johnson and this young man
I give you
together
that.
reunited
I
on
will
this
give you
Bears
that.
team. Again, Chicago fans across the world, I can only say this to you as many times as you need to hear it. The time is now for the Chicago Bears. Get on or get lost.
Ben Johnson gonna write up some plays. He gonna write up some trick plays to get him open somehow. He's gonna have a touchdown this season. Put that on the books. All right, take that to the bank. He's gonna get a touchdown this season somehow, some
100%.
trick play. So I think now with Ben Johnson being at the head coach, we're going to see him fully unleashed. We're going to see all the crazy stuff he wants to do. We're going to see everything that we didn't see in Detroit. And I'm really excited for that. Now, moving on from just the Bears, let's talk a little bit about the rest of the league because there's been a lot of big trades, man, and they've been kind of crazy. So, out of the recent trades so far this offseason, and it's only been, I think three really, excluding the Bears, what's been the biggest trade so far to you?
I mean, none of these trades are really like moving me, right? But I think it's worth a note and a shout out to the Las Vegas Raiders. They're doing some interesting things over there with Tom Brady and ownership, right? It's not necessarily the trades that they made. We know just of recently, they just traded for Geno Smith for a third round pick, right? I guess contract negotiations fell out between Geno and the Seahawks. The Seahawks said instead of continuing negotiations, they just rather clean the market, clean the deck, start over fresh. And Tom Brady jumped in because I think they were considering Aaron Rodgers or maybe hoping Shador slips down in the draft, but it looks like it's gonna go Geno Smith being that starting quarterback, and then you got a hell of a unit on the other side with a leader in Max Crosby signing the biggest deal for a defensive end in football. That's a non quarterback player. So good times are rolling for the Las Vegas Raiders. That stadium is going to be electric to play in, and I think on both sides of the ball, they're going to be very, very interesting going into this next season.
Pete Carroll about to bring them some juice. They got some other moves that I think would be really exciting for him, and I think they're going to do. But for me, man, the biggest trade, it was definitely Debo Samuels going to the Redskins. That's a big move, man. That
What
is
you
a
said?
big
You
move.
what team did you say?
Oh, the Commanders.
Oh, okay.
Yo,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
crazy.
Uh,
My bad. I don't know. It's stuck in me, man. That's how I knew him growing up, and it's like it's just in there. It don't leave.
oh,
The Commanders. All right,
pause.
for a fifth round pick. Now, I don't think he probably should have went for no more than maybe a third, but the fact that they got him, they putting more weapons around Jaden Daniels after he already won Rookie of the Year, took his team to the NFC Championship game, had a pretty good season, comparable to CJ Stroud's rookie season, which
Yeah,
everybody touted as the best ever for a rookie, right?
100%.
Now we get to see what they do with more pieces with Debo moving around in that backfield, getting open, catching some passes out as a receiver. Terry McLaurin's still out there. He was a dog last season. People been sleeping on him. So I'm really excited to see what the Commanders look like next season. And they getting rid of a lot of pieces on their defense too. So it's really going to be interesting what happens with that team.
I may have to get this coin phrase, but we're gonna call the Washington Commanders wide receiver the headbutters, right? Because these, excuse my
You
language,
got
but
to explain that one.
these guys got some big ass heads, and they are physical, and they are looking to run over you, run through you, and do whatever
Yo.
the team needs to win. So the headbutters, I think Magic Johnson knows what he is talking about, knows what it takes to win. It looks like they're building some of that bad boy piston juice over there with a little bit of heem from Magic, making the moves behind the scenes. But I think that ownership group has really infused that team to step into this new age of football. And Jaden Daniels is going to have a big responsibility on his shoulders trying to repeat his success. Hopefully he doesn't get caught up in his rookie season because now more teams are going to be prepared for him, and he's going to have to play a different type of game. And we have to see if he's developed enough over last season into this season to be able to do that. So the headbutters will be ready. Debo Samuels will be in shape because I heard a lot about that. I mean, I haven't heard this much about shape in football since that Richardson guy that was on the Green Bay Packers on the
Yeah,
New
Trent
England
Richardson,
Patriots.
that running
Yeah, and
back.
he's always out of shape. I mean,
Yeah.
hey, these guys in the offseason, they deserve to be out of shape, right? It's kind of like Shaq said. I know NFL is not football, but they can kind of play themselves into shape. They've only been doing this their whole life. So they know what it takes to get in tip-top shape. I know coaches would prefer that, by training camp or before training camp, hey, you're ready to rock and roll. But hey, let these people enjoy times with their family. Their bodies are getting beat up. Let these guys enjoy themselves. As long as they're taking care of their body, they're getting stronger. They could play themselves into shape about 15, at most 20 pounds off. But they need to be ready to go for the team because, again, this is a team sport. They're team players, and that's what you get paid millions of dollars to do.
If you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready.
For some.
So if you're ready to come in and play and put in work, you don't have to start preparing in games now to get ready to play a game. You come in prepared to practice, prepared to train, and you're going to be ready for the game. That's how it go, man. The best of the best stay ready. LeBron been doing it for how many years now? And when can we ever say?
Don't do that. 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 Don't do that.
It's LeBron. I know.
Don't bring LeBron
It's
in
LeBron.
this.
I know. It's
No,
LeBron.
no LeBron slander here.
Okay,
I don't want to.
let's bring up Tom Brady. Let's bring up Tom Brady then.
I don't want to get
Let's keep
checked.
the same sport.
Okay,
Let's bring up Tom Brady.
All right, TB12.
You don't want to be checked. Shut up, Stephen A. Smith. You wild. But yo, look, Tom Brady was a player that was always ready. There was never no question about him being ready. And Tom Brady is who most consider to be, if not the greatest football player of all time, at least the greatest quarterback of all time. If you want to be the best, you got to do what the best do. That's it, man.
I hear you, but hey,
Yeah, so we gonna see. But let's bring it back into focusing on these Bears, man, and talking again about this offensive line because we know they made some big trades, but we also know that it's more that they have to do. So
100%.
What's the archetype look like for the offensive line now? What is that shape starting to look like? The physicality? What's the culture going to be in the building? But let's start with the offensive line.
All right. So what's going to be the archetype of this offensive line is that it's going to be physical. It's going to be physical, right?
Maulers.
We're going to have a, remember the Monsters of the Midway on the defensive side of the, welcome to the Monsters of the Midway on the offensive line of the side of the football. This is going to be something that we as Chicago fans, we've never ever seen before in Chicago, where we're going to have a physically imposing offensive line that's going to be top 10 in the league in win pass rate and pass protection, right? I'm calling it now.
That's a big ask right there, man. That's a big ask. Top 10?
Man,
that's a jump.
There are bigger asses out there. All right. Now, some things you do want to say here, right? There's been a lot of chatter, right? And I don't understand, Bears, culture, Bears fans. We want this move because we think this move will help improve the culture. The culture has already changed. The culture has already changed. What am I going to say?
I don't know what you're going to say. But I hope you're not going to say what I think you're going to say. So I'm going to let you continue.
We need to chill a little bit with this offensive line. Ryan Poles is willing to deal, and Joe Thuney still needs to get a new contract. So if you think he's coming over on that deal, he's going to renegotiate, probably sign a 3-4 year deal. He is looking to retire as a Bear.
Think so?
But that's going to give us cap flexibility going forward if we can renegotiate this deal with Joe Thuney next week. Right? Jonah Jackson, he's a steal. He's going to stay under contract, and we're trying to fill another void. Two more voids on this offensive line. There's center, and then you got to still think about left tackle. Now, how are we going to attack that with this physical archetype of the Bears? I don't want to be the person to say this, but I'll say it. I have to keep it funky with Bears fans. I've only been watching this team my whole life. Drew Dalton may not make the team. He may not be the guy.
As far as play, or do you think that he's gonna price himself? He's gonna get priced out.
He's going to be between that 14 to maybe $17 million
He's
a
gonna
year.
change the center market for sure.
And I don't think the Bears, that's what we want, because again, we need cap flexibility. We still need money. We have more positions to attack to make this a team, right? I know we're focusing so much on the offensive line. We've
Got
already
to.
changed the room. I'm going to show this player some love. I know I talked about him a lot last season because I just didn't understand him. I didn't get this guy. I said, who the hell was this guy? I'm going to give Coleman Shelton some love here today on the Bears Focus podcast, because not only did he hold it down last season, actually towards the end of the season, he really wasn't that bad. He looked kind of miniature, kind of small, kind of not the guy playing center. Like, how could this little guy play center? But towards the course of the season, that little guy, big guy, right, actually started winning those games, making checks, and him and Caleb Williams kind of developed a nice rhythm towards the end of the season. So don't be surprised if you see him there starting at center or being back for the Bears at center, which won't be a bad move. He could be a bridge player for one more year, but he, along with Joe Thuney, Jonah Jackson, and then I know you're thinking, well, then who's going to play left tackle for the Bears? Do you just want me to say it? What I think the Bears are going to do.
Go ahead, say it. What you think?
There's been a lot of discussion about this guy too. Will Campbell.
Think Will Campbell is the guy?
If he's there at 10, with his little arms, the Bears are going to draft him. And I don't understand what's the discord about the man arms so much this week. Everybody, the size really matter.
I mean, hey, in this instance, it does, right? Now, when you think about it, it's been successful players on the offensive line that have had short arms. Most recently, you think about a guy like, as far as winning, A.Q. Shipley, current player. You think about, what's the guy down in Tennessee, Latham, not playing the best, but he's still pretty good, and he's young. He's growing into his skills. The short arms is not a thing to me, but I would go a different way.
They're saying my man got dinosaur arms, and he's not a fit.
They calling them T-Rex out there.
Oh my god!
They calling them T-Rex out there.
I can't lie. I saw him run the combine. I had to chuckle a little bit. Because the arms is kind of, it's like, damn, like
it did stand out to you. It's like, oh, okay. I kind of get it.
And then I don't know if I just put the dinosaur T-Rex status on him, but from there in, But hey, things to like about him, he's nasty. He can play, and he said something very useful when he was talking about his evaluation of himself. He said, what I lack for in arms, he brings back in skill and technique. So he said, hey, if you think you're going to beat me, my skill and technique is better than yours, and I'm prepared to stop you no matter who's that's coming off the edge. So we're talking Michael Parsons. We're talking Brian Burns. We're talking Wilkersons. We're talking Hassan Reddick. We're talking Josh Sweats, right? We're talking all of these Joey Bosa's, right? We're talking all these defensive ends, right? With all of these different techniques that can get off the ball, whether they're physical, fast. He's saying, hey, his technique has been prepared to handle those. And another key thing with this Will Campbell guy, besides the little T-Rex arms, because, hey, size does matter depending on the context of the situation. He can play every single line position on the offensive line, which gives the Bears instant versatility. So, hey, if it's not working out at that left tackle spot, bring him over to center. Now we just got our starting center for the next 5 years for the Bears if it works out there. So there's much continuity to be built. I think the Bears will draft the best available player, but I don't think Drew Dalton is going to be the signing that the Bears make. If they do, still not a bad move. Bears are uber aggressive, but hey, don't be surprised, Bears fans, if Drew Dalton is not the guy on that offensive line.
I do agree with you on Dalton. I think he's just going to be priced out. Like you said, he's going to be somewhere in that 14 to 16, 17 million range. And right now, the Bears sitting at like 15th, 16th in cap space with 43 million. Again, they got to bring Thuney. They got to extend Thuney. What are they going to do with Jonah Jackson? He's got a year left on his deal. He's probably going to have to be re-signed. Are they going to choose between one of those guys? There's some decisions that need to be made here now. At that O-line spot, though, that we still need filled, free agency or at least for center, because the draft, they got to use that number 10 pick on a tackle, on the offensive line. All this fancy pants talk about Ashton Genty and stop it. People got to stop it. Fans got to stop it. That's exactly why they're called fans. That's a fanatical, crazy. That doesn't even make sense.
Wait,
When
no,
we
it
know
does.
that
It
we
does
know
make
the
sense.
issue has been offensive line. Our quarterback got sacked
See,
68 times last season.
okay.
There's absolutely no reason we should be getting a running back at 10,
See, and
especially with the depth that is here in this draft at running back, where we can go in the third round and get somebody that can have a comparable career to Ashton Genty.
you know, you said something there. Again, I'm a passionate Bears fan. I've only been rocking with this team since diapers. I've only seen the worst of the worst. I've only seen and heard about Super Bowl championships through generations before me.
Yep.
I've come from an era where Cal Orton, Cornell Stewart, Manning on the other side of the ball. So Rex Grossman going to. So I come from this era, So for me, the offensive line is a big part of the Bears, but again, this is a team sport, and we have to build this out and refocusing the conversation back on the offensive line and the culture that this offensive line is going to be. Again, it's going to be physical. The archetype of this line is going to be run people, O-line that can run block. I don't think Caleb Williams is going to be doing too much passing going into next season. So he will pass the ball. He will have some great games, but the Bears are preparing to effectively physically impose these teams and run the ball. And the stat that you said, hey, the Bears are going to draft the best available player at 10, whether it's Will Campbell, Ashton Genty, Carter Abdul, who's ever there at 10, that's the best player. That's the way they're attacking right now. So they can feel through the draft whoever is the best player that works for their team. It only makes sense, right? And still get some cap flexibility going forward. So the Bears are building out a physical O-line with an archetype that they're looking to run the ball. And to your stat that you say, hey, we don't need a running back, let me throw something at you. How many explosive plays from the running back position of 20 or more yards do you think the Bears had last season?
If I recall correctly, 2 or less.
Yeah, that's too few. So, I mean, we really need to get explosive on the other side of the ball. So we're way behind the 8 ball compared to other teams. Now, DeAndre Swift has more bounce than an ounce. He has more bounce than an ounce.
He had no offensive line to give him space.
Exactly.
So why would we get Genty when we're going to have the same problem with him?
Because now you got to think he's on the second year of a deal. We don't necessarily know if we're going to keep him beyond this season. And the way Ben Johnson runs his offense, you need a tag team type of offensive running back duel. So we saw him do it with Montgomery and what's the other guy's name in Detroit?
Gibbs.
We saw Montgomery and Gibbs. Everybody was like, why did they draft him? Why did they draft Gibbs? And that ownership group looks like a genius now because we saw what Gibbs did from his rookie season onward and how he put terror on the rest of the league. So Ben Johnson is going to bring some of that juice back here to Chicago and doing something like that with DeAndre Swift. Maybe pairing him with a Nick Chubb, college teammates, depending team-friendly contract. That could go under the radar. Maybe the Bears still get a running back in the third, fourth round, but now he has that time to develop because he's playing behind 3 running backs because I think Roschon Johnson will still have a role on the team, whether he phases out to special teams or he still continues to be maybe a third down back. We have to see how he develops going into this next season as well, too.
I agree. I definitely agree with that. But offensive line, all right, get a running back later. But we're going to talk about the draft at a later time, probably next week or later, because free agency starts next week. It officially starts to where now we can make some signings. We can talk to some of these guys. So with that being said, we know the Bears got to do something. We know Poles is going to do something. He always does at least one big move for free agency. What's that going to be? All right.
I mean, I'll let you go first, and you let me know what's your best next big move the Bears should make in free agency. I mean, I think I know what it should be.
Based on players available
Okay.
and positions that they need.
Okay.
Offensive line, specifically center, and I'll say tackle, left tackle. Safety is questionable. We don't know about that, but edge for sure. I would say wide receiver and running back. But because of how important it is to build your team from the trenches, offensive line to me it needs to be number one. So I do like Dahlman coming in being that center, but the Bears may get priced out. So a realistic move that I see is two of them. Ryan Kelly, all right, from the Colts, free agent, reliable, dependable guy. All right, he can play the position. He's a vet. Or we get Austin Corbett from the Panthers. Another good piece that we can get for that center that's played the position, a vet in that role, that will be able to improve and give us a true center. Not a guard or a tackle that's moving and playing center. Somebody that's had their hand in the dirt, had hand a sack, all right, and they know what to do. Another move, I think. Now, I know I've been on this train for a long time. Go get Ronnie Stanley. Up the left tackle. All right. Up that left tackle position.
Oh my God. No need Stanley. No need Stanley. No.
Go get Ronnie Stanley. Now I'm gonna tell you what. The Chiefs looking at it's been some talk of the Chiefs looking at bringing him in. The Ravens supposedly were going to re-sign him, but they may go and bring back a Macari instead. We're going to see how it goes, but go get Ronnie Stanley, fix that left tackle spot. Now we done killed that whole left side of the offensive line. It's fixed. It's ready. All right. His left side is protected. He ain't got to worry about it. Come on, dog.
Yeah, see, you say that, but I have to disagree with you there because that left side will not be protected, right? It has this thing called father time, right? That's undefeated. So I don't feel safe putting Ronnie Stanley, right, with his injury record next to a Pro Bowl guard like Joe Thuney.
He was healthy last season.
Right, okay. Give it up for him. Give it up for him, but that could be what's it called, a anomaly. So we don't necessarily know if that's going to be something that will continue. It's trending that way. Again, I like getting the young guys out there, right? That is a dominant that left tackle position. That left side again of the quarterback is one of the most important positions in football that you can put there. I say if we have a chance to get a guy in the draft, or we have a chance to get a young prominent player with room for growth there, don't be surprised if the Bears make that move. And again, I have to show mad love to Coleman Shelton. Don't be surprised, Bears fan, if he's there at center. I may be the only guy petitioning for Coleman Shelton to keep his job in Chicago, and I'm perfectly okay with that because if he does end up having it, hey, I'm the genius that we all knew that I would be in relation to this Bears line. Now, besides the Bears line, the trenches on the offensive side of the ball is going to be okay. I'm shifting my focus to that other side of the ball called the D-line.
Okay.
And right there, there have been a lot of recent defensive ends, defensive tackles being released, right? Just to throw a couple of names out there, you hear names like Bosa, right? Get your antennas going up. You heard names floating out there like Max Crosby, right? Then you start to hear names like Trey Henderson, right? All of these teams are looking like, hey, they don't want to pay these guys, right? And we know Ryan Poles is quick to throw a 6th-round pick, 5th-round pick, and get a 1-year rental for a player. Hey, I won't be mad at that Bears fan, and then maybe try to work through another long-term deal. That's kind of what he did when he got Montez Sweat on the team, who produced 5.5 sacks for us in the 2024 season. He signed a big contract, 4 years, $98 million. Hasn't lived up to that contract as of yet, but we need to put more pieces on that line with him. There are two pieces I think that could effectively do that, right? You got to think of our defensive tackle position. We still have the young guy, Dexter. He should come in physically and be physically imposing. And then we also have on that line Billings, right? I like Billings. He is a physical, abnormal, freakish athlete for his size, right? A big just run stopper, like a hole stopper, like pause, but he can fill up a gap, right? So you think about those two players. If you don't like what you have there, go get Hargrove from the San Francisco 49ers, who's going to be released. 32-year-old. He was injured last season, triceps, had an injury. He may be able to come over on a team-friendly contract and bring competition to that defensive line where, hey, you have to show up and you must really compete for your job. I think we're underrating that element of this Bears team going into the season. This is going to be a competing team, physically competing team in practice. If you're not doing what you're supposed to do, you're not going to see that field, right? The collective of coaches that he's brought has brought that culture to the Bears, and that's what I expect to see. So anything, he's going to be in there to compete. He could be a day one starter. He has been a Pro Bowler before. That could be a move for the Bears. Now, the second one, I'm running this train as well too. We got Sweat on the other end, and we need pressure on the quarterback. We need somebody who knows the Bears organization, who knows how to play in Soldier Field, who has made big-time plays on the defensive ball. We've seen this with our own eyes. I think it's time for Reunited, and it feels so good.
Hey, return of the Mac.
And bring them back, man. Bring back the Mac attack. Let him come back to Chicago. He may be willing to sign a team-friendly deal, and we could prolong his career. He's played here before. He enjoyed his time here before. There was no bad blood between him and the Chicago Bears. Just a money thing. Hey, if we can give him a solid contract with a nice, hefty signing bonus, he can come back and fill that void immediately for the Bears and put us in instant playoff contention, because now we know we have a proven player that we've seen, Chicago fans. We have seen with our own two eyes in our jersey that we never wanted to leave. If there's two players on the defensive side of the ball we never wanted to leave, it was Khalil Mack and it was Roquan Smith. But hey, we made our peace. We've made our pieces, Bears fans. If you bring Mack back on the team-friendly contract and he wants to be here, we'll welcome him back with open arms. He'll be beloved in the city, and he will at least have 10 or more sacks for the Bears going into this 2025-2026 season. I said it.
Hey, I ain't mad at bringing back Khalil Mack. Not mad at that. I think that would be a decent move. Put him on the other side of Sweat. He knows how to still get to the quarterback. He doesn't need to be an every down guy. He probably can't be that anymore. But if he can get in and for sure first, third down, give us some pressures, I think it'll be a good move for sure. What you think about the talk of Poles still making a big splash and going after Josh Sweat at that edge position?
He could. He very well could. Poles is, as we've seen over the years, he's a master class in dealing and getting deals done. And players really want to come to Chicago. I mean, we were one of those destination spots that was not looked upon too fondly. Maybe because it was the Bears culture, maybe it was because who we had at leadership position, maybe it was because of the head coach. But now with Ryan Poles and what he's done with Kevin Warren, and then bringing in Ben Johnson, that head coach, players want to play here. It's almost like that Commanders effect, where players were like, hey, in the middle of last season, after the Commanders won about 6 or 7 games, hey, if you traded me anywhere, trade me there. That's going to be what it's like to play with the Bears in Chicago. Not only are we one of the top cities in the world, top 2 not to, we are bringing that energy, that culture. You'll be beloved in the city. You do what you're supposed to do. You're taken care of. Even if you don't do what you're supposed to do, we're going to ride with you. We're going to stick with you because we're passionate Bears fan, but we're just going to ask you for your effort. We're going to ask you for your grit. We're going to ask you to show up for these blue collar workers and really earn your check, as many Americans in the Chicago, Illinois surrounding suburbs do every single day. So, hey, you talking about being a main attraction, the Bears will be a main attraction if they can make those moves. Defensive tackle, defensive end. The splash move may come at wide receiver for the Bears. That is my under the radar guess, because I find it interesting that Cooper Kupp hasn't been moved yet. You got wide receivers out there like Devontae Adams. Although these guys are older, they're very elite at what they do. They can still draw two. And the discord on Cooper Kupp is that he's kind of lost the juice. He's kind of lost a step. They're talking bad about him a little bit.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you got to a little bit.
I don't understand that.
It's people trying to lower the price of a trade.
He was only the Triple Crown winner. He was only the Triple Crown winner. I mean, my God.
But I mean, Puka Nacua did come in and kind of take that spot. He's a dog. Got to give it to him. He a dog.
Nakua's a dog, but he's going to see what it feels like not to have a Kupp there next season. And there's a guy out there by the name of DK Metcalf who's looking for a new deal. So
I don't see the Bears making that move.
I don't either, but you never know, depending on it depends on, hey, what type of team do we want? You have to have you have to have wide receivers that are willing to run block. You have to have wide receivers that can win one-on-one matchups. We know what DJ Moore can do, right? We know what he's going to bring to the table. We know what Rome Odunze can do and what he's going to develop into, right? If we keep that physical, he's 6'4", physical wide receiver. Moore is about 6 feet. If that physical wide receiver, then you go and get somebody 6'3", DK Metcalf, another physical wide receiver that can one-on-one, draw two, or you can go get you one of these gadget guys. You can go get a Kupp. You can look into a master route runner in Devontae Adams, right? I don't think Adams wants to play here, but you got all of these guys on the table that you have to take a long and hard look at. Hey, if it's a 4th or 3rd round pick, pull the trigger and get one of these wide receivers to the team, because you instantly bring veteran leadership and they know how to run those routes to get other people open as well too. And that's going to be something underrated that the Bears didn't do last season with Shane Warden.
That guy. We'll talk about that at a later date too. But I know it's been talked about a lot, but we'll say on that. But even with this, when you're building a team, you got to think about a lot, and location needs to be one of those things. We play in Chicago, all right? We know that the most important part of the season is towards the end of the year, where it starts getting cold and it starts getting windy, and it's hard to throw the ball and it's hard to catch the ball outside. We don't need to invest a lot in wide receiver. So a DK move, I don't see happening. Maybe a Hollywood Brown, maybe Keenan Allen comes back, but I think they'll definitely get a receiver, maybe in the draft or on the low end of free agency.
I'm open to Keenan Allen coming back.
That would be decent.
I mean, I know everybody tried to call him fat last season too, right? You got to think with a heel injury, right? You really can't do too much running, right? That's almost, I hate that he even had injury like that, because that's almost like, man, that's spicy on the foot. It's nothing you can do but allow time and let that get better with treatment.
Got to.
So if he's healed up and he can come back, he may sign a team-friendly deal. I mean, we're looking for players that want to win now, that will have a great chance to compete for a championship, running off the juice of Caleb Williams at the helm, right? He was disrespected at the quarterback position last season. And if you think he's not coming for the cake and then some, you're sadly mistaken. Bears fan, again, the time is now to get on this bandwagon. Don't try to join us in September. Don't try to join us in October. Don't even try to look at us in January. We will be making improvements to this team. We will be ready for playoff football, and we will be a team that's coached to win, right? X's and O's, right? Don't be surprised if you're not on this team right now and you're not with us now. I hate to say, but you can stay on the other side.
And everybody that's on the other side, stay where you at. We don't want you. Everybody that got them negative words to say, oh, same old Bears, keep that. BS where it's at. All right. We want the energy that the Lions got, the brand new Lions.
Hey, we don't talk about the teams in our
Oh, now
division. It's
listen.
only
No,
us.
we
It's
can
only
talk
us.
about it.
We only us.
Now, hey,
Hey,
here's one thing I'm always do, dog. I'm always keep it real. We, the Bears, were the only team in our division that didn't make it to the playoffs last season. So it can't. It's only us. What? All right. Right now, only us is the bad team in the division. Now, 2025, I see a big change coming. I see a very big change coming. And I'm excited to continue talking about it with you. I know we about to get out of here. Do you got a trivia question? If not, I got one that I'm going to leave everybody with, and hopefully they got the right answer.
okay. So we're moving on to Bears trivia, and I do have that trivia question for you here. Hopefully you get this right. We're going to start this one off light this week, just since this is the first iteration. But what uniform number did Chicago Bear Rex Grossman wear? What was that? What was that number?
Rex Grossman. Rex Grossman was number 8, if I'm not mistaken.
Are you sure?
I'm going to lock that in as my final answer. I might be wrong, but I'm going to lock that in.
You're 100% correct. It was number 8. And then going into another trivia question.
Oh, you dose. Let's go.
Yeah, I got
feeling
two
good.
for you.
I'm feeling good.
I got 2 for you. Again, just to keep it light, because these are going to get harder week by week. Who was the head coach of the 2019 Chicago Bears? You remember that guy?
2019.
Yeah, 2019. Who was the head coach of
Was
the
it
Bears?
Nagy?
Was it?
Yeah, I think it was Nagy. Let's go with Nagy. Let's go
Yeah, I
with
think.
let's go with Nagy.
Yeah, we saw him in the park. So yeah, it was Matt Nagy.
You always say that,
Parading
but I don't know if
around,
that was true.
parading around Chicago. We saw him in the park. With it looks to be his lovely wife. We won't comment too much further beyond that. Keep the city safe. But yeah, it was Matt Nagy. Shout out Matt Nagy for bringing some juice back to the Bears, although it didn't
Hell
end on
yeah.
good terms.
Yeah, you know what? Even looking back on that, he wasn't too bad. Probably more so was pace. But hey, we here now with Ryan Poles and now Ben Johnson. So I got a question, and I'm gonna leave for everybody, and you can answer. But I want our viewers, everybody that watches, to leave an answer down in the comments below. In 2025, the Chicago Bears made headlines by trading for both Jonah Jackson and Joe Thuney to bolster their offensive line. But in Bears history, which legendary offensive lineman was the first to be inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and in what year?
So I gave you like a post test questions. You gave real quiz
Yeah.
questions.
We going in. We going in right away.
All right. Let's talk about Bears Focus podcast. Goodness gracious. All right. Bears fans, leave your answers in the comment chat below. Chat us. We will recognize the winner with the right answer on the next show.
Yes,
Whoever
sir.
we get a chance to see first. But yeah, we're gonna check it out. Bears Focus podcast.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you, brother. We're going to end it here. We'll be back with another episode next week, talking a little bit more about free agency, seeing how the Bears did on day 1. So stay tuned. Let's be on the lookout for that.
And as always, hit the subscribe button. Chicago Bears Focus podcast with your main host, Colin, with your side host, me, doing all things Chicago Bears content. Again, hit that subscribe, like button. This is everything you're going to need to know from passionate Bears fan, me, logical
perspective. The real Bears fans here, dog. The real Bears fans here.
The logical perspective. I can't say that my feelings won't tie me down throughout the season.
You can't. But that's what we have for. Balance each other out with it.
Hey, hit the subscribe like button. We're here all season. Chicago Bears Focus Podcast.
Till next time.